Okay, so this is the panther dream. Okay, so, and also please forgive my hair. I feel like it looks so like whatever. I don't know. I feel like my hair never looks cute in my videos. I don't know why, but anyway, I just did a hair mask, so it looks really greasy. It doesn't matter. Okay, so the panther dream is like a wicked story. So basically, what happens is me and my mom are in this like kind of like awkward place because basically I had, gone through my death and rebirth, right? I'd gone through like my dark night of the soul. And during that time, I had completely fallen off the face of the earth, like completely to everybody, all my friends and everybody. And I had already been like, as I explained in one of my earlier videos, like kind of like bad vibes for a really long time where people didn't even really invite me to parties that much anymore because I'd kind of like been like this downer for a long time. But then I really disappeared for real this time, going into my dark night of the soul and like really confronting my fears and all these things and all the, the negative stuff that is like deeply embedded in you. And for anybody who's actually gone through a dark night of the soul, like, you know what it is. It's really scary. It's like the deepest work you'll ever do. It's like it's the deepest excavation into yourself that you'll ever do. And I always describe my dark night of the soul as crawling down into the depths of hell to slay the devil, only to find that she was me. And instead of slaying her, I took her by the hand and I brought her up to the surface and I loved her, right? Like I always just feel like that was like the inner child of me that like just, had to grow up too quickly, like had to lose her childhood, had to like whatever, had to just step up and be like the man of the house and like all these different things. And so anyway, also, I'm sorry, I'm just like getting off a cold. So like for sure you can hear my voice is not great. I'm really behind on things. Anyway, I'm basically like, I've basically completely fallen off the face of the earth to all of these people after my dark night of the soul. And then, and in that, and doing that work, you also realize that there's people that you need to sort of reconcile with. There's people like, that you definitely feel, owe you apologies, which you're not really looking for anymore because you've done that work on yourself, but that you also feel like you owe apologies to as well. So I really make the effort to reconcile as best as I can with certain people in my family and my friends and etc., wherever that's necessary. And even in that relationship with my sister, like I make the effort to bridge that gap between us, and not because I feel like I owe it to her, because I definitely don't, but it's for me, like it's my own personal, like it's my choice to go and amend anything that like feels like it's been torn, that doesn't need to be, or meant to say, that doesn't need to be anymore. And especially like I really think that when you start to really do the deep work, like there are people that need to go, like there are people that you need to cut out immediately, but I think the point of the deeper work is, can you come back again? Like, can you be friends again? Can you like reconnect again? You don't have to. That's not true for everybody in your life, for sure, but that is a big part of like, I think, doing like the deeper spiritual work. So anyway, and one of the people obviously that had come off was my mom, like my relationship with my mom. And me and my mom were always very close in many ways since I was a kid. And I think because I was the firstborn, and for a long time it was just me and her, and so I think I was always very much like a confidant to her. And but I didn't realize, and again, in doing the work that I had done, I also realized that we kind of had a bit of a toxic relationship, like a bit codependent. And because I think my mom didn't really have many friends, and I don't think she ever felt like she ever needed many friends because she had me and my sister, for example, and that's all she needed. And I really hope that like if ever she hears this, or other people like hear this is not a dumping, you know what I mean? This is like, how I truly felt about everything. And so I also come to realize that like I have this like very toxic relationship with my mom, where she's like constantly relying on me for her emotional support, and that's typically the kind of thing you would outsource to friends and all kinds of people in your life. And if you don't have that, I really became the source of that for her. And anyway, among other things, there are other things as well. And so to make a long story short, she and I were very off. Like we hadn't really spoken for a long time. I'd made amends with my sister for the most part, like as best as I could. And this is like, I don't know when this is, like last year, I guess, basically. This is like actually literally probably last year. Probably like literally last January or February or something. So, like I said, I done all the work to reconnect with people as best as I could in the best capacity I could. And, but me and my mom were still out of sorts, and we were like awkward with each other. I don't really even know how to bridge this gap. But basically I really start to step into like a very deep spiritual place, which I haven't even gotten into some of like the downloads and messages I had begun to receive, from my guides, from my spirit team, all that stuff. So anyway, so at one point, I've done a lot of like the interpersonal deep work. I've already come back from ayahuasca, by the way, at this point. And and so I know things now. I really know that there's more happening here. There's much more being orchestrated here than we can even know. You know what I mean? That we're aware of. And so basically, I know it's time to reconnect with my mom. I know it's time for that, and I just don't know how to do it. Like, I know, you know how moms are sometimes. Like, I know that if I go and I say to her, like, hey, I want to talk, like, let's sort this out, I know she's gonna reject me. And it's hard to explain, but like, unless you're in a mother-daughter relationship, you know exactly what I mean. Like, how moms can be, even though they want to do it too. Like, you know that if you say, hey, let's reconnect, you know she's gonna be like, sorry, like, you know, I'm busy. You know, like, you know that's how it's gonna happen. So I say to my guys every single night before I go to bed, I do this thing where every night before I go to bed, I say, let her know I want to connect with her. Like, let her know it's time. Let her know I want to be friends again. Like, I want us to reconnect and to talk again and to sort this out, right? To move past this, to move on. I know it's time. So I do this every single night without fail. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it takes about a week basically. Or I do this every single night before I go to bed, after my meditation, first thing in the morning, after my meditation. Okay, connect me. Let her know. Like, it's all love. It's all love. Like, I want us to be friends again. And so finally she calls me on a Sunday. So I've only done this for about a week. I'm gonna say, like, it's only been a week that I do this. And she finally calls me on a Sunday, and she invites me over to her place. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I think she says, like, oh, I have this like extra food, or I don't remember. It was like from this thing. I don't know. Do you want some? Do you come over? Whatever. Sure. I'm like, sure, no problem. I come over, and we start talking. And it, you know, and I'm thinking, yes, like, we're in. Like, this is it. This is all I've been waiting for. This is what I asked for, and it's gonna go so great. And I meditate on it, and I think it's gonna be this like wonderful like reconnection. And instead, like, you know, it's really not. Like, she really like starts to like bash me really badly, and starts to like mention all the ways that I've been a disappointment to her in my life, and all the things that I did wrong and whatever. And, you know, I'm not the old person I used to be, so I can handle it in a way that is like not you know, like that, in a way that I'm not going to fight with her about it. And on the other hand, I'm not quite the new person I had been working towards, like that I am now, for example, that would be like, okay, enough. Like, I'm not here to be bashed, or like, I'm not here to listen to you. Like, I'm sick of being the villain in everybody's story. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not quite this person either. So I'm in this in between where like, it bothers me a lot, but I let her like say what she needs to say. But I also have responses, like, I think that are fairly good responses to her. Anyway, it goes on like that for a bit. I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is what I came here for. And like, I'm ready to leave now. And then she tells me, I had a dream about you. I dreamt of you. I had this dream, this crazy dream. And so my mom's always had crazy dreams as well, right? I do not dream crazy the way my mom dreams. Her dreams are wild. Like, very rarely do I have like a crazy dream where I, like, you know what I mean? It's a crazy, crazy dream. I have more crazy experiences, like, do you know what I mean, at night, you know, like with aliens and things like that for sure, that she also has. But as far as my dreams go, they're not as crazy and wild as hers are. Anyway, so she tells me that she has this dream. Oh, maybe I should start with the alien stuff, actually, because I basically, like, as far as I can remember, maybe, no, since I was 11, I've always had like extraterrestrial experiences, definitely sleep paralysis among other things. And my mom has always as well, all her life. Like, as far, like, she remembers telling me a story. She remembers being 4 years old on the beach in Chile, and she remembers looking up at the sky, at the night sky at nighttime on the beach, and knowing that there's not just like life out there, like that there are other civilizations out there. She just knows it. She's 4 years old, and she knows that there's like civilizations out there in the world, like at 4, among other things. Like, she also like has memories of the future, the way I sort of do a little bit as well, and like just crazy things. So she's always been incredibly connected, but I think she has a bit more fear. And I always had fear because I didn't believe in anything for so long, that when I started finally, especially after ayahuasca, when I finally started to allow the things to connect to me, like slowly but surely my fear subsided, and I was able to like welcome things in a bit more of a, you know, well, I would say still with apprehension, but with a lot less fear. And so, you know, I've gotten messages from the other side, we'll say, from like, you know, the other, from extraterrestrials, from whatever, from my guides, but certainly like I've connected with other, I would call them higher dimensional beings, interdimensional beings, like the way that so many of us have, and more of us are, because we're in the time of awakening, and it's time for that. We're all going to go through a big spiritual shift, and it is time for humanity's great awakening. So if it hasn't happened to you yet, this sounds crazy, it's going to start happening, or to everybody in their own which way. We've all questioned our purpose down here and what so many of these things are on earth that we can't explain. And now we're in the time of revelations, if you will. We're in the time of revelation. We're in the time of discovering, of knowing, and of learning what's really going down here on earth. And that's going to come in all kinds of forms, but also ETs are going to like come down, which I think we're all like feeling the energy of. So anyway, so she has this dream. And again, did I say that? Yeah. And I think she had a lot of fear of these things too, because also she's like in her 60s, right? Like it's a different gen. Like those are the kinds of things people tell you like, oh, that's wrong. Like, especially in the Latino, I'm sure, world community, like, you know what I mean? There's something off, or like, you know, be careful with that sort of thing. That's the devil. And so I can understand, whereas like I'm younger and like I have my own experiences, whatever. And I also allowed more in. I trusted my intuition more, and I allowed these things in. Anyway, so back to the dream. So she tells me that she had a dream earlier in the week where we were, I guess, in the forest. And I guess it's the two of us, or I come later. No, it's the two of us, and we're in the forest and we're talking. I don't know, I can't remember exactly how it happens, but basically, I show up to her with two panthers, but basically we're chatting, and we'll just say we're the two of us. And then these two black panthers come out of like the forest, like the brush. And they come to me, they come by my side, and my mom starts freaking out, like, oh my gosh, do you see that? Oh my gosh, Camila, be careful, be careful, be careful. And I tell her, no, Mom, it's okay. They're safe. Like, there's nothing to fear. And she's like, no, please, like, you gotta be careful. Like, you know, I mean, they're black panthers. Like, there's these two huge panthers. And she's freaking out. And she's like, no, like, you have to be careful. And she starts, like, losing it. And I tell her, no, it's okay. Like, there's nothing to fear. You don't have to worry. And basically, like, I convince her enough, like, to pet them. I'm like, it's okay, just pet them. And she's like, no way, I'm not doing that. There's just no way. And I'm like, just okay, just try, like, just see what happens. It's okay. And she's like, just no way. Like, she's terrified, whatever. She's terrified. And so she finally gets to a place where she pets them, and the moment, it's wild. She tells it much better than I do. The moment she pets them, it's wild. They just like surrender, and they start to purr and play with her, and they just like they surrender, they succumb to her, and they're all playful and happy. And I fucking love this dream. And she's like she starts freaking out. She's like immediately she feels surrendered and soft, and like, oh my gosh, like it is safe, like they're okay. And she starts to play with them too, and she's like so happy, and we're playing, and I'm like, see, I told you, like, you know, there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to fear. And like, she just feels like, oh my gosh, you're right. And she's so happy, and I'm happy. And it's like this amazing moment. And like I'm loving the dream. And the dream, like, oh my God, that's so cool. And I'm like, this is the best dream ever. I mean, and that's kind of it, right? That's the dream. And, my phone. Oh yeah, my God, there's my phone. Anyway, so fast forward, so that, you know, that's kind of like the night and whatever, and you know, it's fine. I do feel better. We made the connection more or less that we needed to make, and that's it. And then about a week or so later, I mean, easily like maybe a week max later, it hits me what the dream means. It hits me that the dream means, because again, I'm connecting to things that she's too afraid to connect to. She always tells me like how afraid she is when these things start to happen. And I'm like, you have to let go and surrender and allow them to show you what you need to see. And she's always like, no. Like, she's always too afraid. Whereas I had been surrendering, and I'd been telling her some of the things that I had, and that I had experienced. And so I realized that what the dream means is trust, right? Trust that these things aren't here to hurt you. Like the panthers, for example, aren't here to hurt you. And trust Camila, because I kept trying to tell her, like, just let it go. It's okay. Nothing's going to happen to you. Nothing's going to harm you. And she's like, and that the dream means trust Camila. She knows what to do. Like she knows the way. Trust her, follow the way. Like, she knows what she's talking about. Trust what she's telling you. And my phone. Trust what she's telling you. She knows the way, like, just surrender and like listen to her, listen to what she's telling you, like trust her, or follow her guidance. I remember feeling like knowing that like a week later, and I promise you, like, not even a day after that, like within 24 hours, like right away, I was scrolling through my phone, and you know when you open like a new webpage, there's always like different news stories or whatever, like news of the day, and I and the first thing that shows up is this, what panther dreams and what they mean. Like right away, it's like panther dreams and their meaning, and it's like the India Times or whatever, and right on the front cover is a black panther, and I'm like, oh my god, and I click it, and it basically says, first of all, it's like it's deeply intuitive, that Black Panther showing up in your dreams means that you're guided and protected, and often means that your family is looking after you, your family is protecting you, and like there's nothing to fear. Like they're such a good symbol of guidance and protection, and of deeper connection to spirituality. And I started freaking out, and I sent her the link as soon as I see it, as soon as I read everything I need to read. There's more to it, I can't remember it all. And as soon as I see it, I send it to her, and she responds, and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to know that. But then later on, I do tell her that, I do share with her, I'm like, I know what that dream means. That dream means like, listen, like, you're okay, like you're guided, you're protected, like, and trust what Camila's telling you. Like, you're not there to be harmed. Like the fact that I showed up with the Panthers, and the fact that I told her like it's okay to trust this, was the significance of the dream. And so I think she got it, because again, we always have our like little tips back and forth. So I think she was like, okay, well, you think you're whatever, so spiritual now or whatever. I was like, oh my gosh, like just listen, like, you know what I mean? Just let it go and just try to listen. And it was just one of the coolest things. So anyway, that's the story I wanted to share about the Panther dreams, and that way you can know that you can do that as well. If you're in a situation where you want to connect with somebody and you don't know how to do it, and it's time for you to reconnect, it's time to make that reconnection possible. That this is a way that you can do that. You can always ask your guides, your spirit team. Like we all have one. Like don't let that sound crazy to you. That we're connected to so much more, and that there is so much more happening on this planet outside of the scriptures, outside. I mean, yeah, they have something to say for sure, but outside of religion, what all the things that we think are going on down here, and that we are guided and protected in more ways than you can imagine. You're always guided. In fact, you actually never need to ask for help. Like if you need to ask for help, like you've gone too far down, bring yourself back up again, and know that it's always there. And you always have to meet your guides up here. They never meet you, which is so annoying when you're like in the hole and you like feel like you need extra help. They don't really meet you there. I mean, they can, of course. I mean, I've been through some bottoms where I've definitely had the help that I've asked for. But that you're always guided and protected is a point. That you can always ask, for what you need, and expect to receive it. And that your dreams have so much meaning. Like your dreams are also guiding you and protecting you. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that story, because I find that the Panther dream story so freaking cool, and one of my favorites. And that's actually not the first and last time I actually sent a dream. I did it another time with a family friend who I didn't really have a reason to reach out to. I wanted to talk to her because I had a message that I wanted to share with her, and I had gotten a message that I wanted to share with her, and I knew it would be odd to just like reach out to her out of the blue, because I'd never really called her out of the blue, but I knew her birthday was coming up, and so I did the exact same thing. I basically said like, okay, send her my love, like let her know I want to connect with her. This time I was like, send her a dream for sure, send her a dream. And so I kind of like surprise called her on her birthday to say, hey, like, just surprise out of, it's kind of out of the blue, happy birthday. And she started freaking out. She's like, oh my gosh, I dreamt of you last night. Like she started crying and I started crying. I was like, there's no way. And it was just like the coolest thing. So anyway, know that that's always possible. It's super available to you, and to do it with lots of love. Like, yeah, I don't think there's any other way you can do that. I'd like to think that there isn't any other way you can do that, but that's available to you in that way. And whatever is significant for you, it will show up. Like for me, I would have never thought panthers, but for whatever reason, panthers worked. These big cats, that scared my mom, that I was telling her were docile and to just trust. And anyway, and it worked, and it was like the bridge that we needed to start communicating. So anyway, that's the story. And I hope you have a great day. It's so beautiful and sunny today, which is why I wanted to do like a day video. But anyway, I'm wishing you a wonderful day, week, month, year, life.